World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Jana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
She was told that she couldn't play with the boys. She was told that they were too big, too rough, too strong. She was told to give up her dreams and move on. She was told to just be pretty, be quiet, be a lady. She was told that women had to stay on their side of the court, stay in your lane. Playing and competing with men was insane. She was told that men and women would never be equal. Dreaming like that would only be lethal to your mind, to your soul. She never listened. She knew that their thinking was old. She is magic. She is the definition of spirit. She is what champions are made of. She is now.
Well, good day, good evening, happy new year, happy 2026. This is Dr. Jana B. Woodhouse at Access Wealth Nation on the Soul City Network and on WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. And I take pleasure in opening this year with some information to give you that checkup from the neck up and get you going financially. You know, financial literacy is imperative in this time. If you don't know any better, then you have a tendency to make a lot of mistakes. So if you know better, you'll do better. And that's what we do here at Access Wealth Nation. We give financial literacy. And we're not trying to sell you something. We're trying to make you understand what you need to know for what you have to do for your financial journey. Okay, so of course, a little heads up, we have a few things that, we talk about. One is the book. My associates at How Money Works at the Wealth Wave industry, we're talking about How Money Works. So we have the How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker book. And then we have, of course, for the ladies, but not just for the ladies, of course, is How Money Works, Take Control or Lose It. And then for our millennials and our young folks, we have the How Money Works, the next generation. This is sort of targeting our 18 to 40-year-olds. It gives you a guideline to what you need to really focus in on, because no one's teaching any of this stuff in the schools. And I'm hearing that there are going to be some financial literacy programs coming out. And they're still teaching how to write a check. How many of you honestly write a check? Everything is electronic these days. Budget. I was told budget can have a bad word. So some people don't want to do a budget. Well, just figure out where your money is and where you need to spend it and how you need to spend it or how you want it to circulate. Now, here, Dr. Jana always says this is that if you spent it, it's gone. if you're circulating, that may be a little slower than normal, but if it's moving, and it's going in and back and forth. As you all saw in the opening, of course, I had the graciousness of being awarded the Wall Street Pioneer Award in Tulsa in 2021. And that's one of the things that I made a vow that I was going to teach individuals how money works in our community. Approximately 66% of Americans don't understand simple things like compounding. So we're going to get to talk about a little bit of this tonight, how to get started. And then, of course, if you want the books, you have to go to Anaj Enterprises Inc. at gmail.com and send me, I want the book, which books you want. Now, if you want to have an outline of each book, you can go to Wealth Wave. That's WealthWave.com. That's wealthwave.com/Jana B. Yeah, on the scene. Producers are working so well. But wealthwave.com, Jana B. That will take you to my website, and you can honestly order the books, and they are available to you, no cost. The only cost is read the book, because without reading the book, it's not going to help you anywhere to create dust collectors. Okay, they're simple, they're easy to understand, and then if you read the book, there's also a great opportunity, because you can, once you get to, even before you get the books, you can come on every Wednesday at 7 p.m. My organization with Wealth Wave does a Zoom presentation, a whopping 30 minutes for you to get some financial literacy. And so it's so important that if you tag in, you can go in and go to the bit.ly, I'm sure they're going to put up the flyer. Yes, the flyer. And I can't see the code under it. If we could raise it a little bit, I could see it. Or, yeah, there we go. bit.ly/NYC Money Milestones. The word NYC Money Milestones. And that would get you to registration. You want to register before the class. The classes are every Wednesday at 7 p.m., given by some of the most phenomenal people in my organization. And including, I get a chance to also do a few things. We have 5 classes and they rotate. And then there's a 6th class that usually doesn't have the formula behind it. It's just what's going on in today's world and in today's market. On all these forums, including here, you can ask questions. You know, we will do our best. If the first thing I've learned in life is that, of course, you think you know, but if you don't know, you ask. And then if you ask and I don't have an answer, I know how to go and find out about it, okay? So it's very important. But if you also have the opportunity to take what we call the financial literacy quiz, and that you'd have to do the QR code, but that gives you an opportunity also to take the quiz, then take the classes. And then after you finish taking the classes, take the quiz again. Now, it doesn't cost you anything, and we don't sell and maneuver with people's information. This is truly to help you to strengthen your financial literacy. And if you want to stay in the place you are, then you stay. But if you want to make a difference, you do some action. They say knowledge is power. Well, action takes you towards your freedom. And that's what's important, is if you know better, you do better. Okay. So it's just to know where you're at. These questions change also. So don't think that once you take the quiz, you can memorize the answers and then get 100%. But if you get 100% on the quiz, that's something you should really look and evaluate for yourself, because there may be an opportunity for you to be able to teach people about financial literacy. And you need to contact me about that, because I'm looking for folks who would love to do that. But if you don't do a perfect score, it's okay, because you might also know enough that you could, or have the desire to help people. I'm talking to some of my teachers out there. You get the opportunity to understand a little bit more, and as you're learning, you can help others. My goal is to see at least 100,000 people get financially literate in 2026. Got to be able to monitor that in some ways. So I always want you to either give us a call at the office, because you get a free financial analysis. And we don't do anything other than give you where you are. And then you tell us where you'd like to go. To get that analysis, you call 646-375-2121, 646-375-2121. And you say you'd like to have a financial analysis. And guess what? All we do is send you what the information is that we would need. And then you can have a Zoom call, or you can come into the office and have a one-on-one with us. And it takes about approximately 30 minutes to pull the information out. It's phenomenal that I see how much many people don't know what their immediate finances look like. You know, they don't know what their interest rate is on their credit cards. They don't know what interest rate they're receiving on their savings account or their investment accounts. And so tonight we're going to talk a little bit about the 7 money milestones. That's what we call them. And these are the milestones, the step-by-step movement towards really your financial journey. Did you know you had a financial journey? Yes. Every one of us has a financial journey from the time that we come into this world, where we may not know anything, or you be like me as a little child and as a little girl. All I wanted to do, I didn't like pennies, but I loved nickels, dimes, quarters. Loved those half 50 cents coins. And that was starting my financial journey. I realized it was one way of learning to save. When I was in grammar school, we had a savings account. You could put as little as 25 cents into the account. But the problem is that today we don't have those things. They make things very difficult for you to be able to get financial literacy and teach your children how money works. And it's just those simple words, how money works. So we're going to get going. I think I have mentioned everything. We are preparing right now with the Soul City family to create financial summits and financial literacy summits, focusing in on our community. And the key is you got to show up, either through hybrid online streaming or physically, but you got to show up. You got to do something. If you keep doing, you know what they say, you keep doing the same thing that you've been doing all the time and expect something to change, that's called insanity. And I know y'all are not insane, but you got to make some movements. And here we are at the beginning of the year, 2026. My dear friend, Lloyd Strayhorn, an astronumerologist, he says it so well. And he also has a show on the Soul City Network on Thursdays. Normally, I don't think he's doing it today, but at 7 p.m., right behind my show. And as he says, this is a 1 year. This is a year for new beginnings. Well, what better things to do is than to get yourself financially literate and kill that illiteracy. So we're on a mission, and I am going to get it done this year and make sure that I would love to have all of you involved. Also, those of you who are interested in possibly working in the financial education realm, give me a call at 646-375-2121, because I may have something for you to do. And how you can do that and it may be something that you would have a lot of fun at. The world of finance, if it becomes a drudgery for you, it's not for you to work in. But if you find fun in working in the industry and teaching, this might be something of an interest. No harm in paying attention. I believe our sixth class, because we have the first class on Wednesday, this Wednesday, and we do 5 classes. And then I believe the sixth class is going to be on entrepreneurship. We are in an economic time right now that jobs, the journey of the broke, not joking about it, but yeah, I tell folks, when you take a good look at your salary, almost feels like you in slavery. I saw some commercial and it was Steve Harvey talking about, he says, shoot, he said, Kunta Kinte made more money than he just made. Well, if you want to control your own destiny, your own income, your own earning ability, maybe if the entrepreneur bug has hit you, and you'll know because it was in my spirit from the time that I was like 8 years old. So if that's something that is intriguing to you, maybe you want to make it to that sixth class that we'll be talking about entrepreneurship. Very key. Okay. So now I'll get busy. Got time moves so fast. I don't know what's happening in our world today. Time is moving so fast. Today, we have in New York City, we have a new mayor. And I'm calling out and sending out that I would love to talk with him, because I think that in his platform, he could do some things with financial literacy, and not just, what Governor Hochul has right now, a financial literacy program where our high school students get have to get that half a credit to get out of high school. But we need more than that, a lot more, because you need to know some of the things that we're talking about tonight and then go in deep dive. And I have individuals that are part of my organization that will work with you on a one-on-one. And no, it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg to do it. Not even a half of an arm. It's really about just getting the education. Once you get the education, we can see if you want to do something along the lines of putting your plan into action. But if not, there's no obligation, none at all. And I'm really being honest about it, because my passion, I'm hoping you're feeling it. My passion is to bring this education to our community. I watched at Tulsa, the story of Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street. A dollar lasted 3 to 5 years in that community. Well, the real reason was because there was businesses there. There were 600 businesses, and you didn't have to go outside of the community to help to enhance the community, to help that. But the problem is here, we don't own any businesses, and so the money goes out of our community within a few hours. Not good. Thank you very much, Melvina Keys. Thank you for tuning in. So we're going to talk today about the 7 money milestones. So the first things first is the financial education. That's first and most important. And so we make it kind of easy, because you can tune in to our program at 7 p.m. on Wednesdays, and you can get your financial education. As a matter of fact, with the informations, we call it the elements. And so with those elements, guess what? You get the opportunity to even get a certificate that says that you've been through the classes and completed it with the instructor. And then you can see where you want to take it from there. Hey, Kathleen, thanks for joining us. And yes, so many of us need this education. I agree. Thank you so much. I'm hoping that you spread the word and let people know that we're here at 6 p.m. every Thursday, giving that checkup from the neck up, all different areas. I'm also talking to people who have books and talents and businesses so that we can focus in on it. So if you have something, please send us to Anaj Enterprises Inc.com. Listen, Naj Enterprises Inc. at gmail.com. There we go. And you can let us know what you do. Maybe there's something that we can help to promote. That's what Soul City is all about. Soul City is a phenomenal distribution system and network. And we need to help and support because we don't have many people who are going to talk about our community. The other key point is Rupert Murdoch, who owns, had used to own CBS and the Post and the radio programs and things. He said it so well. Whoever controls the media controls the minds of the people. And we've been seeing that on a constant basis, not to get political, but to get political, is that our economy right now, people think, oh, it's wonderful. Why? Because the media says so. But when we go to the store, we see that inflation has taken place. And what does that mean? That our buying power has reduced. And we don't have the opportunity to have our paychecks stretch. So we're in a very big quandary. How do we make ends meet? And yes, there's a lot of things we'll be talking about this year on Access Wealth Nation. We're going to talk about the elements of taxes. Taxation's getting ready to hit us again, the tax season, and what we need to look for and what we need to, how to prepare, and if we have a business or do we want to have a business. And remember one thing, I just took my continuing ed for IRS, and one of the emphatic informations they were putting out there was you go into business to make a profit. You don't go into business to just take losses off of your taxes. Good point. Okay, so our financial education, first and foremost. So attend the classes. The next area, as we see number 2 of the 7 money milestones, is proper protection. It's quite interesting. We will pay money to insure the flat screen TV that we just bought this year for Christmas, but we don't insure the breadwinner who's in our family. We don't insure the house, the apartment. We only go as far as what is mandatory. Shoot, we wouldn't even have car insurance if they wouldn't stop us from driving. We don't have the proper protection. And sometimes we have to really look at what we have. There's so many elements to insurance. But if you don't have something, then you really are putting yourself in a position of not only having the loss, but not recuperating from that loss. So, we need to look. As a matter of fact, there's, if you have term insurance and you want to see if you have the right type of insurance, or if the term insurance, are you paying too much for it? Because in my world, term insurance is like rent. You get at the end of 12 months, you didn't die. That's all you got. If you have permanent insurance, in many ways, you pay the 12 premiums. And guess what? At some point, you may be able to build something such as cash value. That's not all the time, but that's why you need to sit with a financial advisor and a financial educator and get your information and get your house in order. But this is important to be properly protected. Now, those of you who own houses, you'll think that because you've only paid 20% of your home, you've paid that amount, paid up to, but you haven't gone over the 20%. And then there's that thing called PMI. And you think that insurance is for you. Surprise, it's not you. It's the mortgage company making sure that if you drop dead, they get that mortgage paid off. Isn't that something? But then they still hold your family hostage. for paying off that house. Sounds like double dipping, huh? But that's how things go. So we have to become more literate and examine and stop being a case of like being a secret agent that you don't tell anybody anything that you're doing, and therefore you can't get any help. I never forget the first time while I was in seminary school, it was quite interesting. Yeah, I went to seminary school. So in that, you see, when you got you can't get nothing in there. You can't win. You got to open up and get information and move. So I'll take this time also to tell you also, those of you who may have questions or comments and you'd like to thank you very much. I appreciate you, Kathleen. And but that's the whole thing. Now I got a statement. Okay, other than your knowledge will show, how do you get people to truly invest in and become interested in investing? Some just don't care. And you know what, Kathleen, that's a good point, because they don't care. So if you don't care, why are you living? I hate to say it that way, but why are you living? You don't care about anybody else. You don't care about what's going to happen. I think it's more than just not caring. I honestly think that it may be that they're frightened. Fear is interesting. We know that we need financial literacy, but we're frightened to find out where we're at and how do we get out of it. A lot of us, and that's not the next one. I'm getting to the next one. When I get to debt, I'm going to tell you about something. But yeah, it's one of those things is that, this show and all the other shows on the Soul City Network should be just full, because we're so informative. But I think people figured they want to, paraphrasing from The Matrix, maybe they just want to take the blue pill. They don't want the red pill. Who knows? But I'm still not giving up. I'm going to keep showing up and showing out until we get this done. And people like you are important because you pass the word, and I appreciate that. So the next area is emergency fund. An emergency fund, we must have at least 3 to 6 months worth of our take-home pay, our take-home income. Well, that's what the rule of thumb says. When you get to Dr. Woodhouse, I'll tell you it's not my philosophy. Your objective is to get at least a year. We went through COVID. I don't know about you, but I saw a lot of clients out there who the 3 to 6 months was good, but that thing lasted for 2 years. If you had 1 year worth of income, you breathed. You had a chance to pull things together. But if you only had 3 to 6 months, that was over in a quick moment, in a New York moment. Okay. So you have to build. Now, how you do that? Well, there's different processes, and we do go through with each individual on what they're comfortable with. Some like to save $1 for every week. Hey, this is the first week in the year, so you put away $1. The second week in the year, put away $2. Third week, $3. Okay, so you right now got $6 saved. You say, well, that is no money. More than what you had, right? So you keep doing it. The times that get kind of difficult there is when it gets around about the 30th week and you got to put $30 away. That's not so bad. If you're saving, there's other ways of saving, like the latte theory. Stop buying the coffee outside, make your own coffee. Stop buying your lunch outside, make your own sandwich, make some soup. I have a friend of mine, she comes from the Midwest, and she says, I don't understand you people in the East. You don't know how to have soup. You have a good bowl of soup and a piece of toast or bread, and that makes you a hearty lunch, and not paying $16 for it either. Just a thought. But put together, there's also another little thing I think of and I show folks is hoard your fives. And what you do is that, you know how when we get a $20 bill and we break it, I hate to take my $20 because, you know, as soon as you take it out, it does that abracadabra, poof, it's gone. So instead, how about hoard your fives? When you have a $5 bill, at whatever you have at the end of the day, if you have a $5 bill, you got to put it away. To thine own self be true. So you put it away and you do that continuously. Sometimes you got your kids involved in it because I think children should always be involved in your financial literacy journey because they are a part of it. They will cause you to spend more money if you don't teach them how money works. So if you get them involved and get them at the end of the day, every time there's a $5. Now when I first heard about this, I was talking to some sisters from Delta Sigma Theta out in Long Island, and they brought this system to me, and I thought it was so cute. And one of them said, yeah, I had a $50 bill, and the man gave me 10 fives. And I told him, go find me some tens and give me a 20, you know, because she's like, because at the end of the day, I got to put these fives away. Don't want to do that. So it can be fun. Dealing with finance can be fun, whether you believe it or not. We make it a drudgery, but it's really not. It really can. And when you save, what do they say? A man who walketh straight is one who has his savings together. And so I put to that, added to who has his finances together, because there's more things than savings. Okay, now we go to that. Debt management is the fourth money milestone. And with debt management, it's our credit cards. I know no one out there is having that trouble, but just in case you know somebody, you need to write down your credit cards, which ones you have, how much your balances are on there, how much is the interest rate. Y'all have heard me before talk about the rule of 72 and how wonderful it is to know how your money doubles. How about the rule of 72, how much your money goes down or depletes because the interest rates on your accounts are doubling the balance of what you owe. In some cases, your balances can cause you to be in debt for over 25 years. Don't want that to happen, but that's how that interest works. And there's all many different types of philosophy. You just got to find out what makes you comfortable. And once you do, that's why you sit with a financial educator, because once you do, then you work that system until it doesn't work anymore for you. But the key is when it comes to debt, your goal is to eliminate it, and possibly in some ways you want to control it so that your credit scores, because this world is about credit scores. And I know some of you have sent me notes asking me, I'm paying my credit cards on time and I'm paying the minimums on it. And how come my credit score doesn't change any? Well, there's a thing called Fair Isaac. He ain't fair. Okay. And those are the credit bureaus. And one of the things about it is that if you don't have your credit, as far as what the balance is on the credit cards, under 30% of your credit limit, it's not going anywhere. So, for example, if you have a credit card that's $10,000, you should not spend more than or have a running balance of more than $3,000. But what do? We take it all the way to the limit. And then we wonder why our credit score is not moving any. That's why. Paying the minimum, and I give tribute to President Obama for making it mandatory to put those things. If you pay the minimum and if you pay just a little bit more, how long you can get out of debt and close that credit card. Don't close it down, but just because closing credit cards is not the problem. It's the mindset of how you're spending at it and how you're using that credit that will make the difference. And also, if you go to our classes, one of the classes talks about those of you who are American citizens. Every American citizen once a year has the rights to get their free credit report. It's free. Don't have to go and pay no money. Don't have to pay monthly fees. It's free. And if you want to score, of course, then you also, with the score, it will take a little bit more. It may take you about, I think, $7 to get the score. But the more so is what's on that credit score, what's on that credit report. There's a lot of things that are on there, times that you're not even liable for. And we need to protect our credit like we protect our Social Security number. And you always need to look to see what's on it. And if there's something on there that's not yours, you need to dispute it. This is some of the things that we talk about in the class. Okay. So the next step is cash flow, is managing your cash flow, creating it. Sometimes we've got more month than we've got money, right? Not everybody, but this can happen. So what happens in respects to that? Well, you can always ask for a raise. Okay. In today's economy, kind of difficult. I have had clients tell me that their employers have said, look, you better be glad you have a job. That's some of the mindset right now, unfortunately. But you can also do things like what they call the gig economy. Yeah, they got a name for it now. And doing side gigs. Some of it is helping people write. They don't, some people stand on lines for folks. Yeah, it is. There was one woman that was on 60 Minutes, and this has been some years ago during COVID. She made like $60,000 off of hugging. Non-sexual, so she said. But there's things to do. Dog walking, plant sitting. I heard that one. People go away on vacation, they need their plants watered, and they don't have anybody to do that, so they're paid. So this is one of the things that, do something that may generate some extra cash. Maybe answering people's messages, for their business. They don't need a full-time assistant. They need a partial, someone to handle just some of the simple things that are going on in the business. Bookkeeper. We're getting close to tax season. There are people who know how to do taxes, simple taxes. Well, that could be something. Data entry. These are things called part of the gig economy. So you might want to do that. Or you may want to take a look at your W-2. And that's, this year, to see if you're getting a big refund at the end of the year. Hello. I don't know what kind of relationship you've got with the government, but ain't no friend. Uncle Sam ain't no uncle of mine. And you may have paid too much. They used to be a commercial. I'd love to take credit for it if that's why it's not being shown anymore. But is Larry on the table getting up dancing because he got a $10,000 refund? And I wanted to slap him off that table because it was the most stupidest thing I'd ever heard. And the reason why is that $833 a month that he is really getting, he's letting them hold for him to give him back with no interest. Who does that? But why? It's promoted in our community through the media. Sometimes we need to cut that TV off and not hear these kind of things because they're not helping us. So instead of getting $10,000 at the end of the year, how about getting that extra $833 in his check and not owing the government at the end of the year? Could he have done something with that extra money? Yeah, he could have either paid off bills or he could have put it away. Or he could have gone on a trip, whatever, fulfilled some dreams. But no, he's up there dancing with $10,000 in his pocket and one lump sum check. I got it. And for all of my wonderful listeners from the Caribbean, I know y'all do the susu. And I used to be so against the susu because you didn't get any interest. Well, you ain't getting no money in the bank anyway. So if you're going to put the money away and you put it and you want to deal with the lump sum, I'm not battling you. I think of other things you could do. And of course, if you sit down with me, we could talk about this. But in the process of it, think about that. You get the refund, then what do? They give you all of these little quirks and perks that you can get no interest for 6 months. If you buy this, get that money. They want that money out of your hands. So instead, don't fall for the okie doke. Don't do it. That's why it's important. Sit with a financial educator. And of course, you can always, if you don't have one, you can always call my office, 646-375-2121, and you can talk to someone who will do a financial needs analysis, no obligation for you. Okay. So that's the fifth money milestone, is cash flow. Because if you changed that W-2 form, not W-2, W-4, and took home more money, it would help your cash flow, wouldn't it? But you don't do that by yourself. You need to talk to your accountant, your tax preparer. Some of them will help you. But your accountant, your financial advisor, to see where can you save a little bit more money. Okay. Then we have building wealth. So you go through all of these financial money milestones, and you need to build wealth. Now, there's things called 401k plans, 403bs, 457, SEP IRAs, Roth. I know all of this stuff is like, oh my God, what is all of this? Tax advantage, tax deferred annuities. All these things can be explained to you when you sit with a financial educator, but it's ways of building wealth because you put the money away, and while it's building, pay no tax on it. And some of them, while you're putting it away, like the Roths, you can take the money out when you're 59 and a half or older and be able to take the money out and pay no tax. But it's all that growth you didn't have to pay taxes on. Or there's some things that you can use with your life insurance. But all of these things come to play. But if you don't go and talk, and I can't emphasize it more, you need to sit with someone. You don't have to, especially when it's a non-obligation situation. You want to make sure they're not lying to you, that there's no obligation. But there are people, like I said, WealthWave, who do that. It's basically a system of numbers. You see people, some will, some won't. So what? Next. We just are out here giving this information and helping folks get to their financial freedom. And I'm hoping this is helping some. And then we'll continue on taking each one of these 7 money milestones during the year and covering some of the things that are going on. We've got some other legislation coming through. Those of you who are have the affordable health care, some of you will see bills that go up much higher. There's lots of confusion with Medicare. We have baby boomers who are turning 65 and they're totally confused, need some help. So if you need the help and you don't know where to go and you'd like to talk to someone that you can trust, call our office and we'll be glad to assist you if we can. There is a wealth transfer taking place. Before I get to the 7th money milestone, there's a wealth transfer taking place in this country. By the year 2030, 127 trillion with a T, is going to transfer hands. A lot of it due to the baby boomers and the silent generation group going to the Gen X's, Y, Z, Y. Well, when that transfer takes place, a few things can happen. Either that money can grow more because it's in hands of individuals who know what to do, or it can disappear. And I'm hoping and praying that does not happen. Now, while I got your ear, women, out of that 127 trillion, 30 trillion is going to come to women. Come on, we got to show it that we can take this and build this for our families and be knowledgeable. So it's very important specifically to ask for those of you who are 18 to 40, get the How Money Works Next Generation. And if you want the e version, you can get it. It's a summary version. It's not as deep as the physical book, but I think, if you want the book, we're willing to give it to you. You can get it on Amazon, and you can pay $25 for one, and I think the other one is $18 for the youth, the next generation, and the women's book. But all you have to do is ask us. All you got to do is write to Anaj Enterprises Inc. at gmail.com. And you have to give an address so that we know to mail it, But if you want the ebook, then you can give us a telephone text number and we can give you that. But that's only the summary. And then you can see that we're not trying to sell you something, that we're just trying to give you some information. So here we go. Time is passing. Let's talk about the estate planning. That's the last money milestone, the 7 money milestones. And estate planning has to do with last will and testament, revocable living trust, and the power of attorneys, and doing things to avoid probate. What's probate? Probate is when there's a will or not. It has to go through the court system. And in that, you have the situation of where the courts get in and they look at what you have, what you died with, and what your family's going to pay to release it. Something as an example was Prince and Aretha Franklin. Prince died without a will. That's called intestate. And so did, Aretha didn't really die without a will, but ultimately they thought she did. And there was 4 wills that popped up. And she had a special needs child who was a now special needs adult. And some of you may have special needs individuals in your family. And you need to make sure that there's paperwork put together to take care of them. They may be a portion award of the state. They may not. You want to make sure that they don't wind up in an institution, especially if there was money that you had that you left for them. There are things called trust. One of the things that's kind of horrific is the fact that we don't trust. We don't want to tell anybody anything that we have. And when we do, we only tell a little bit. You got to have somebody that you can trust, even if it's someone who has their disinterested party. And in that, you need to have a will to instruct what you want and what you don't want, what you plan to do. Some people say, well, I don't have anything. Okay, I want everybody at this moment to take the moment to close your eyes. You're dead. Okay. All the stuff that you own, where's it going? All the awards and the pictures and the clothing and the books, the furniture. Who's going to close out that apartment or that house? Who's going to be positioned? Now, you may have some family, and when there's a death, families can be just as bad as vultures. Yeah, I said it. They, and they come after everything. But if you have children or grandchildren or special people that are important to you, if you don't put it in writing, it's a mess. So don't let that happen. Get the will. And last will and testament to say what you want, how you want. As a matter of fact, it was interesting. I was listening to someone and they said they went all the way to the level of writing their own obituary. And I've been working on that because I thought about it. By the time I die, nobody's going to know what I did, where I did it, and whatever, because they'll all be gone. I just have that thought that I'll be around for a long time. But in the process of it, you need to make sure that you give instructions. But what about if you didn't die, but you can't speak for yourself, or you can't do anything for yourself? You may be ill and can't do. Then you need to have some powers of attorneys, financial power of attorney, a medical power of attorney, a health proxy. And those of you this year and in the past who have children going to college, they are considered adults in most of our country. And if that's the case, you need to be able to help them. And if that's the situation, you're going to need them to give up the power of attorney so that you can. Because if once they turn 18, guess what? You may be paying for their college education, but you can't get any information because they're adults, and unless they release it, they can't. The institutions can't share any information. I know I've upset some of y'all with that but you need to know. And there are forms that can be filled out where they don't have to go into the portals to find out their information. And especially during tax season, you need to get their 1098Ts. That's where you paid the tuition. But if they don't go and get it, you can't get it. So you need those kind of paperwork, just to give you a hint. Living trust. But if you can't speak for yourself and you don't know how your bills are going to be paid if you're ill, especially if you write checks, I implore, thank you. If you don't have automatic pay, some of the things that you need is to, so that the accounts can be fed with your income, be it your pension, your Social Security, any dividends investments. So if it's being fed with that and then have the automatic pay of bills, then maybe you don't have to have someone who has a full financial power of attorney. But if you do need people to help you, you need to get someone who you can trust, a trusted friend, or a trusted professional, and put things in order, because we do get older. We do have, sometimes there's a little mental dysfunctional. No, not because you ran into the room and you can't remember what you came for. All of us go through that. Okay. And we don't have to be old to do that. We just have just something that happens. Okay. But if it's a case of where it happens more often and you see those signs coming, you need to put things in place. And there are people that you need to sit with. You should have a good attorney, a good accountant, and a good financial planner or educator to work with you. Okay, so that you need. And as far as, like I said, instead of it being where it's just the will, you get the will, but you need the living will or the living trust, so that even if you say, well, I don't want to be resuscitated, you can have a do not resuscitate put on file, a health proxy. You can have levels of where the health proxy will cover only certain things that they can do. Okay, so you just gotta work it out. Put your plan together so that you don't plan to fail. That's what's so important. So I'm looking as time is passing by, and I have covered all the 7 money milestones. And I just say to you is that I give this information The important part is for you to take the action. So you can call 646-375-2121, and you can get your financial needs analysis. You can also call and get your book. Oh, let's see. If I have a child that lives far away, in the event of her death, how do I ensure the family that lives nearby won't take charge if her, I guess you want the executive, is not there? The key is that she should give you or give whoever limited power of attorney an instruction, and part of that should be you have to be contacted immediately, and nothing can be done without, because people will take advantage. Yes, they will. But also they will wind up in jail too, because that's theft and stealing and doing things without having a financial right. So she needs to put everything in writing and share it with those that might be the ones who show up, to say that nothing gets done until, my mom shows up, and if she, that's the best you can do, is to put things in order and have an emergency system that if she winds up in the hospital or whatever, that you are designated as the health proxy, and let that be known with her doctors and her medical specialist. Yes. Now, if she winds up in the emergency room, they're going to ask and find out if there's someone who has the rights. But they will not act unless, especially the closest family member is alerted. Thanks for that. Good question. Okay, we're getting ready to the nth hour and closing down. This was great. I hope you all shared the information out here. Share it with others. I am not a secret agent. I'm here to help. And so if there, anything else, you get a chance to see me again every Thursday at 6 p.m. on the Soul City Network, on Facebook, Roku. We also have LinkedIn, YouTube. We're here. And I appreciate the questions. I appreciate y'all. If y'all have special topics that you would like covered, let me know. If it has to deal with money, be glad to be able to bring it forth and bring other specialists together. That's what we're going to do. You're so welcome. And I look forward to seeing y'all next Thursday, same time, getting your checkup from the neck up. This is Dr. Jana B. Woodhouse, having a wonderful time, a new year, new beginnings. And with our new beginnings comes greatness. Know that, because you have to keep a positive mental attitude. And thank you again. This is Jana B. Woodhouse signing off for Access Wealth Nation and the Soul City Network.
She was told that she couldn't play with the boys. She was told that they were too big, too rough, too strong. She was told to give up her dreams and move on. She was told to just be pretty, be quiet, be a lady. She was told that women had to stay on their side of the court, stay in your lane. Playing and competing with men was insane. She was told that men and women would never be equal. Dreaming like that would only be lethal to your mind, to your soul. She never listened. She knew that their thinking was old. She is magic. She is the definition of spirit. She is what champions are made of. She is magic.